Hey
Let's
guys,
do it.
what's going on?
What's
Welcome
up,
to
man?
another
Welcome.
episode of
Hey,
Intro Anime Podcast. So
What's
today
up?
we have a special episode.
This is a good episode. This makes me happy.
What are we celebrating? How about that?
It's been, you know what? F***ing AC! Okay, it's connected to me anyways. I would say it's been about a year since I actually got really into anime again and watching it pretty much every single day. I don't know what happened, but something clicked in me where I was like, I watched a couple episodes of something and it just sparked this thing where I was like, oh, I need this content in my life. Like, I don't know how I didn't do this since I was a little kid, because when I was a little kid I was scared from Full Metal Alchemist. I was scarred because of the, transfusion of the girl and the dog. Then after that, like, I spent like 10 years being like, oh, it's unrelatable. And then when I watched it again, I was like, oh no, this is like the deep emotion that I need as a 30-year-old man, but for some reason as a kid it just didn't connect. So now I'm like swimming in a fountain of beautiful anime.
Because as you're growing older, your emotions just end up running dry. And at this point, you're just like, man, I need something to make me feel something.
And anime can do that. It's funny because like when you first watch it too, you're almost like, oh, the tropes are cheesy to an extent of how hard they're trying to like pull the emotions. But when you let it happen, it's the best feeling in the world.
That's the thing. When you let it happen, you just like get swallowed by it.
It's amazing. I love being swallowed.
Well, cool, man. What actually got you into watching that first episode of Dragon Ball Super?
That's funny that you say that. I think the biggest spark of all of this was when we went to Korea. Dude, that trip
seriously
changed the trajectory of my entire life. There was something about, like, obviously me and my brother, we haven't gone to Korea since we were little kids, or he has, but I haven't. So when I went back there, I explained it like it was, for me, it was like finding a long lost brother and being like, oh my God, I remember you from when we were kids, and like feeling like so comfortable with it again. Matthew says it's like home. Like he's like, oh, and I totally relate to that feeling. So when we went there, it was this very powerful, emotional, like, having a family, having home, because we have a big family in Korea. We didn't grow up with like a big family at all. We had distant relatives, but we were very distant. Like,
do you even know what that was? Like, what was a family? You know?
Yeah, grandparents, we didn't have any of that. So when we went to Korea, we have like a grandma, and cousins that are like so unbelievably loving. Like, it was a very emotional thing, sitting there at a dinner table looking around being like, why are there so many people who like are related to us? Yeah, what is this family thing? Anyways, that sparked it because like in Korea, since I had so many good emotions happening, everywhere you look, everywhere it has like character designs for every single company and store. You see all these cute little characters. You see anime everywhere. So I was just like, dude, I need to like embrace that part of me again and see what's up. So it actually kind of started with watching a little bit of like Pokemon and being like, oh yeah, now I get it. Like I was like, I totally remember what this feeling is like. And I don't know why I pulled so far away from it. So then, of course, the next step was like, well, Dragon Ball Z. Grew up watching that. And I started with Dragon Ball, first episode. And I was like, I haven't seen Super at all. So let's just watch all the way to Super. And dude, by the time I went through it and like all the crazy things happened. Dude, I mean, I think about how emotional that is watching Dragon Ball from the very beginning and like watching him do what he did at the end of Super. I was like, I need something else.
Unbelievable.
I was like, where's more anime? So after that, it was just
crazy hearing that, because I just watched most of Dragon Ball Z, and then years later, 10 plus years later, I watched Dragon Ball Super, and even watching that, I was like, oh my God, this is it, you know? That's like reminiscent, right? That's like
totally
old school for us, so it was it hit home.
For me, that's the thing. It's like, I think if you maybe grow up in anime and you're like, you really understand anime to its core and you've spent 10 years watching it plus like soaking all of it in, maybe watching Super would be like, this is cheesy or something, but it's the perfect gateway for the person like me at the time of being like, I mean, it's just constantly exciting, constantly emotional, like in a lot of good ways, hype emotion is like the best thing ever, and anime to me brings that out like more than any type of content, like hype emotion, like cheering for people and being
especially during that time of us watching it, which was like what, late 90s, early 2000s. Think about it now, like if we had Rurouni Kenshin Super or Yu Yu Hakusho Super, that would be like it would be automatic. It would automatically be like S tier for us. You know, it could be like the worst anime ever, but like, I love this.
That's the thing. But from there, I mean, that's literally why I got into like started watching Yu Yu Hakusho again, Rurouni Kenshin again. I was watching all the old anime, but the thing is, it is old. So like at a certain point, like Super is very updated. Like it's pretty current looking for an anime. But I was just curious, like, well, all this is like from the past. And then I watched Cowboy Bebop. I mentioned that as well, and it was like that was like, this feels a little more modern and adult, and I like the way this feels.
Your journey, like you went to, from Dragon Ball Super, then Cowboy Bebop. It's like something about anime, right? Like you had that, I guess, emotional connect to Dragon Ball Super, and it's just not enough.
Yeah,
That search.
there's this strong connection. I mean, when you're a kid, you're just like full of whimsical exploration.
Yeah.
And I think like you basically spend your life trying to find that whimsy again. And what's ridiculous is like the only reason you don't embrace it is because you feel like you need to like grow up and move on. It's like a part of like, you know, the culture.
Right.
But I heard this quote probably 2 years ago, and I didn't really lean into it far until recently, like last year when we went to Korea. But basically the quote was like, if you're like unhappy or lost or anything like that, think back to a book that you could not stop reading as a kid. You know, that's kind of an old way of saying the quote, like a TV show or a movie. Somewhere in that movie or show or book is not only the answer to the meaning of life, but what will ultimately make you fulfilled. And I was like,
I like that.
Duff. I was like, that's a big message. Like, I'm like, what the hell? That there's that much on my childhood. And then I thought about it, and I was like, I thought about Pokemon, Monkey Island, and I realized like my whole life is like, I watched Pokemon at 10 years old, started skateboarding, and then my goal in life was to like explore the world. Like I was like, I gotta
catch them all.
To catch every single of them all.
Yeah.
But like all that stuff, even like the whole idea of like, you know, Monkey Island exploring and becoming the fiercest pirate in the world, I was like, this is, my whole life is about what these games' messages are.
Guybrush
and I can
Threepwood.
feel that. Dude, just some like silly dude who's like trying to be something that he's definitely not made to be.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so relatable. Like,
I remember playing Pokemon and then playing like Pokemon Snap, and
I
love Pokemon Snap. Like from there, I was like, that was like one of the biggest hits in my life. I was like, man, I can't wait to move to Australia, go on safaris, and take pictures. I want to be a photographer.
We decided to do that.
Yeah. So like that was like a big stepping stone, and I was like really into that for a couple years. You know, I bought like some reptile book or something. I would explore in like the woods, like expecting to find those lizards, which I never did, but it's still, like you said, full of whimsy.
I think it's like way easier than people think it is. I think people like grow up and they move past that and they're just like, oh, that was that. But I really don't think that ever is that. I think it is 100% always with you, and you have to kind of like look into that to really feel anything. Like to feel really fulfilled, you have to like dig into that. So like for me, I've been like, okay, I gotta dig even further. What else is about childhood? You don't want to dig too deep, you know what I'm saying? But but there's like, for me, it's like I want my life to be professional play always. Like I want to like die playing and like figuring things out, and like, that's what makes me stoked and happy.
When was the last time you went to Korea before that last time we went?
When I was 8 years old.
It was like oh my gosh, that was like 20 years ago.
Yes. I hadn't been in 20 years when I went to Korea.
Oh, that was a game changer for you.
Oh, dude. And that's the thing. There was familiarity. And you and I grew up in a house with a Korean mother. So we were literally nurtured by Korean values our whole life. But it wasn't relatable. We'd go outside and be like, nobody lives like or acts like how mom acts. That's so weird. But in Korea, boom, you see it. You're like, oh, this is where she came from. This is why I am who I am.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, so, I mean, ever since that faded day, you have been watching anime after anime. I mean, this is going to be a loaded question. So, I mean, just take your time. I think I already know the answer to this, but...
I know you know the answer, and I know the answer, and I know the question.
What were your favorite animes during this period?
Probably the ones that there were actually a lot of really good ones. It's hard to think of them on the spot because, like, in my head, I've categorized my favorite, which was, like, Mob Psycho Season 2.
Right.
It connected with me so hard, and I watched it multiple times, like, just the Season 2, and, like, everything about it, man, they killed it. They hit it. And it's funny because I look up a lot of like YouTube anime people and they say the same thing and I'm like, dude, that's so cool. That's like, I don't know. It hit really deep for a lot of people who like anime.
That intro is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I watched that intro it has like so many millions of views.
It's amazing.
On YouTube. It's so good. But besides that, Cowboy Bebop was an obvious one. To me, that was like, that one felt crazy.
Yeah, that one's
And we
so
were
good.
kids, that song used to freak me out. Like, it was like a loud jazz at like 1 a.m. or whatever. I'm like, what in the world is this?
That's the joke, right? Like, as kids, you would fall asleep like during Cartoon Network when you're watching like the safe cartoons. And then you would wake up to like Adult Swim at 2 o'clock. And like in a world of like horror of like, Ghost in the Shell or Full Metal Alchemist or like Inuyasha, and you're like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly. That's what freaked me out as a kid, was like all these good feelings and then all these dooming feelings. But then you realize there's a lot of connection there, actually. So, I feel bad because I know I'm going to miss one where I'm like, oh, that was the best. But those two were for me, the most memorable so far. God, but there was like
That's usually
30
how it
or
goes.
40.
Well, Cowboy Bebop is like everlasting, right? It's like,
yeah,
it stands the test of time. I think it was like, what, 98 or 99 when it came out or whatever.
Yeah.
And to me, it still looks amazing to this day, you know? And it's a ride, man. It is a heck of a ride watching that show.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I went down, we saw a lot of newer anime, you and I feel like, but, I went down the avenue of all the classics. Like, I tried to watch Naruto, and honestly, wasn't really feeling it. Couldn't get into it. One Piece, I loved, because I grew up liking pirates. So I'm like, dude, this is really addictive. But so many people who watch One Piece go like, I can't get into it. It's too, like, Americanized. It's so zany. Like, it doesn't kind of make any sense.
It is zany.
And I'm like, it's very zany. But I'm like, I love it, So the classics, I got into a bunch of them, and I liked them. I feel bad that I didn't like Naruto.
You saw Full Metal.
I saw Full Metal. That's like the most popular one on my anime list, right? Full Metal
and Death Note. Yeah, you saw the heavy hitters, man.
I saw all of them. I'm like looking right now.
Speaking of Adult
like,
Swim.
Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan.
Yeah, my God, yeah.
We watched all those,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, you saw like
the biggest ones we watched. Yeah, Demon Slayer was awesome, and I like. Okay, I'll say this. Sometimes we think too logically about what we're like. You care about what people think about what you say with this kind of stuff, but what you should think about is like, what are you most excited to watch in the next season? And the truth is, Demon Slayer, so hyped on seeing the next season.
Yeah.
With all the big ones. Attack on Titan.
Movie. Demon Slayer
really?
movie's
yeah.
next, right?
Yeah.
So.
And then Attack on Titan's the last season, right?
Last final season. Coming out, what they say this year. It's like in fall. But yeah, I mean, I'll be able to die happy. Like when that comes out, man. I'll be satisfied.
I feel that.
Like, I'm good.
I can already die pretty happy from like a lot of stuff that I've already watched. There's a lot that
there's some good quality stuff.
Season 3 of Attack on Titan where kill me.
Like,
at the end I'm like, I could have just fallen out my window. And die and I'll be fine. There's a lot of anime where I'm like, now's a good time to die. But yeah, I'd say those two are my favorite. And dude, we've seen 40 plus at this point, So what was your favorite though? And the last, not all time, but like in the last year, what do you think your favorite was?
I have seen.
Erased?
I've mentioned that so many times, right? I think Erased was really good. I think last year, the animes I watched, I can't remember if I saw Promised Neverland last year.
I didn't finish that, dude. So I still have like 2 seasons to watch, or a season.
Yeah, just the rest of they still only have season 1. Yeah.
Oh man, I only have like 2 episodes to watch. But I can't wait to finish that, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I've already seen Attack on Titan and Full Metal Alchemist, and I might have seen the 3rd season of Attack on Titan last year. And if that's the case, then that's definitely on the list. But I really liked Erased a lot.
Can I take a second guess what your favorite one was?
Go for it.
March comes in like a lion.
You might be able to answer it for me. What's up?
March comes in like a lion.
Oh my God. That one is... Wow, you remember better than I do, man.
It's ones that I still have to watch. I think that's why it's more on my brain of being like, dude, I gotta finish March Comes In Like a Lion. And I know, like, I heard so many people talk about how good it was in the anime community that I'm like, and you said it was like unbelievable. So
yeah, it's transcendental, man. Like, my goodness. But yeah, no, March Comes In Like a Lion. I really wish I could just remember more. I've seen so much anime within the last year, and honestly, my like watching anime, it actually got like re-sparked. It exploded into like a marathon of watching anime because we started doing this whole thing. So I was watching even more anime. It's been a ride. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, I've seen a lot of weird animes. I've seen a lot of like anime, like transcendental animes, like March Comes In Like a Lion. Yeah, Comes In Like a Lion is fantabulous. Which goes into the next point.
Okay.
And this is like most of a type of anime, right? What was the most shonen anime you watched? I know this is a lot of like...
Can you get more shonen than Dragon Ball? Can you get more shonen than Dragon Ball?
I don't think... Or Naruto, or One Piece. Those are like the definition of like shonen, pretty much.
I feel like Haikyuu was up there. I feel like Haikyuu was like... Isn't that shonen?
Yeah. I would definitely categorize that as shonen. Like Food Wars.
And Demon Slayer and all of them, right?
Yeah, Demon Slayer is like, to me, it's like a shonen with a bit of finesse. It's very well done.
Shonen with finesse. Haikyuu was a different type of anime for me. Like, it was like, you know how we talk about slice of life, so I know those are your favorite anyways.
Yeah.
Haikyuu has the feel of like slice of life, but it also feels very American because we grew up on Disney Channel. Every inspirational movie is a sports movie, football, whatever. And truth be told, dude, kind of like a guilty pleasure of mine is like those like football movies on Disney growing up.
Right.
Like the ones we watch in school and like Remember the Titans and stuff like that. Like those like hit me hard, but Haikyuu is just the anime version of that. And it's totally just like, you know, it's so hype. But there was multiple episodes that got me like seriously emotional. I don't know if I like straight out cried, but there's big scenes in it, and then you realize in sport, and like there's reactions on YouTube of people crying to the Haikyuu scenes, you know, and it's like,
oh yeah, like
it feels cool.
I feel that too, you know, those scenes.
Oh, dude.
So. But
yeah, so I would say that one's probably the most. When I think, not mentioning the other ones, that one's the most shonen that I can think of like off the top.
How about the saddest?
The saddest anime.
Yeah, that you have seen, because you have. It would be an understatement to say that you've watched a lot of anime last year. I mean, you watched a lot of anime, and like through many categories too. So like, I mean, I have a guess at what it could be.
I'll probably take your guess. I mean, first of all, there's like if movies count, maybe like Silent Voices.
Yeah.
Okay. Silent Voice. See, the funny thing is, like even you were saying, you're like, oh, it's not that sad for an anime, but I'm someone who doesn't watch sad anime.
Yeah.
So like, to me also, for some reason, bullying really is hard for me to watch. Yeah, so bullying is really, 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 really cringe for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't even get on Twitter. Like if there's any videos, I just skip it because I'm like, I don't even want to know or see it because it'll stay in my head.
That movie hit hard then.
The movie hit hard.
I mean, the bullying scene hit hard.
The bullying scene hit hard because I felt like a dick. As soon as the beginning happened where he's like, should I spoil a little bit? No, probably, right?
Well, I mean, honestly, that scene is literally the trailer for Netflix.
Oh, okay, so I'll just say this because it's the first 10 seconds of the movie. So, sorry, it is a spoiler of the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, you guys can skip to this time. And
if you don't want any spoilers. Okay, but this is just me explaining the sadness. Is like at the very beginning, this dude's about to kill himself. He's standing on a bridge. And then it cuts to a flashback of him as a child, and he was a bully. I literally...
Honestly, I think a lot of people really, really hated that character right from the get-go.
Yeah, when it's that bad, it's like, dude, bullying is already hard to watch, but he's bullying a deaf girl who, like, is just trying to be nice. Dude, that, to me, was like, it's gonna... But the thing is, it's important that it was so significant and so wrong because the rest of the movie only works because of how intensely terrible he was for a short period of time.
Right.
And, like, you know, the reason he felt the way he felt at the very first 10 seconds of the movie. So, like, it was beautiful. I mean, that was, like, an incredibly beautiful thing. And then, of course, like, the sadness surmounted to less sadness. So it was a very emotional ride in general. So for me, because I don't watch sad anime, that was probably the saddest anime I watched.
Yeah, that's up there. That is a very sad anime. So.
What was the saddest one you watched? I'm curious, actually, if you know off the top.
That one. Yeah, Silent Voice.
Oh, really?
Last year. Yeah, I mean, there was also... So March Comes In like Lion was just poignant the entire time, right? It was just kind of a sadness. And I did watch... actually, I watched a couple really sad ones. I watched Your Lie in April and also Clay
That one's really sad?
It's okay. So, Your Lie in April is okay. I watched...
Because it's so popular.
Yeah, it's popular.
Well, what did we watch together where the two people switch bodies?
Oh, Your Name.
Your Name. That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was really good. Oh, I also watched, I think last year I watched Claynad, After Story.
And that one's sad?
Which one? Well, I mean, it's okay. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people, that's the thing, like, we watch it because we do like some of the emotions, but for now, like, I'm like, I don't need to be depressed for the entire day. Like, I need an impactful 25 seconds and to be like,
yeah,
but I can't have it be any more than that. If I'm thinking about the next day, like, why why did they write that? But yeah, no, I'm good.
And last most of an anime, the most motivational that you felt watching. This one's kind of you might have to dig a little bit for this one, but so I can help like hold your hand somewhat, unless you already know the answer. But like those moments you would feel like you needed to draw or go out and skateboard, and you like pushed harder than ever to like do it, right? Like because
yes,
I'll give an example.
Okay, like I know your answer. Don't even
do
tell
you?
me your answer because I know your answer. I think I know what you're gonna say.
You might. I mean, I was gonna say something initially, like because I can't really think of one, but you might give me the answer, and I might be like, yeah, that's actually the answer.
Okay, so there's a couple. There's I will say in terms of just sheer like wanting to work hard in general, I think that shows like Haikyuu were good.
Yeah.
But ironically, a new show that I watched that isn't an anime that stemmed from watching anime
Yeah.
was Itaewon Class. That one got me really motivated because it's very realistic of what I do.
Yeah.
Like wanting to build a business and stuff like that. But the actual show that made me want to draw more often, and like every time I watch it, I could only watch 20 minutes because I would draw right away, is Bakuman.
Bakuman. Yeah.
Bakuman. So that show got me pumped up to like pursue my dreams right away. I mean, that one's like so motivating. Just kids like going ham and spending all day every day doing these like creative, mental draining tasks.
Yeah.
And a lot of my life is that. So yeah, for me, I got super inspired, and just to be like, I want to like be an artist because I genuinely do. So that it helped me a lot.
That's a solid answer too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say like I actually watch a lot of like anime when I'm in the gym, like a lot of shonens, and they'll like really pump me up, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I watch no spoilers on this, but I'll watch the end of Dragon Ball Super, and I'll be like,
That's dangerous, dude.
I know it's super
You're gonna
dangerous.
pull a hammy. Yeah,
Exactly.
dude.
So I just
You're gonna
go
do like 40 more
ham.
push-ups than you should.
Yeah.
Like blood's coming out of your arms. You're like, I can't stop.
Stop.
If
Past your
Goku can
limit.
do it, I can do it. Yeah.
Exactly. So,
No, I mean, yeah, no, Dragon Ball Super. I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
it makes you want to like be tough and be like
exactly.
big and strong. But my life isn't too much about that. But I wish I
Yeah.
was stronger. I mean, it definitely makes me go do push-ups. But that's about all I got in terms
Yeah.
of strength.
And I'll say one more, probably the one I actually use the most is Demon Slayer. There's a specific part, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that one.
Specific episode.
Yeah. When it's at the gym, actually just in daily life, it makes me just want to do everything. And people who've seen it, yeah, you know what's up.
You know.
From there, just a little bit more detail, because this kind of goes into like what motivates you, because I know this leads into how you get motivated too, and it's pretty much what your favorite character is. So like,
Yeah.
I know usually when it comes to like how you get motivated and stuff, and specific for you, John, it's like the main characters, like, or your favorite characters tend to be like the most motivating ones, you know?
Right.
So
That's
yeah,
hard.
What you got for me, Daddy?
My favorite character, I would say right off the bat, it's funny because it's an anime that I only saw 2 episodes of, and he was probably like the most likable character that I saw out of any character, and that was a dude from Gurren Lagann that I think everybody says he's like the coolest character. You know what I'm talking about?
Kamina.
Yeah.
I think Kamina? Yeah.
Kamina was like definitely the one where I was like, oh, he's the most likable character I think I've ever seen on TV. Like they built him to be likable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like just because he, you know, and he's like, older brother type, and he's also so badass and cool, reckless. Like everything about him, I was like, yeah, I like this motherfucker.
Kamina is one of the greatest characters I think that's ever been created, honestly. That character is so awesome.
Did you see
So
Tower
we
of
haven't
God?
No. I haven't.
Okay,
I need to. I really need to.
Man, dude, I'm not gonna lie, I'm stoked for you. It's fun.
Yeah?
Oh,
it's
I mean,
it's
it's
good,
also
huh?
it's like
I mean-
the most popular anime right now. Period. You know. But
Let's
there's a
talk
character
about-
off that.
Oh, that's your. Oh, really?
One of my favorite characters is a
motivating.
character off that, but I don't even want to say that right now because I don't want you to have
Oh, okay.
expectations of like who you should be hyped on.
Like, actually, one show we haven't even talked about that I think a lot of motivated characters are from is My Hero, right? My
I
Hero
was just
Academia.
looking at that. I was literally
Oh,
just
were you?
looking at that. Yeah. I was like thinking like My Hero cast, which ones are my favorite dudes? Because, yeah, that one's built so well for an American audience, dude.
Yeah.
It's, like,
there's so
perfect
many
for
motivating
Americans.
characters. All Might is. It's so crazy because with that show, when I first watched it, I was like, All Might, okay, this is your trope, your typical like just
American.
American superhero, right? And like the more you watch it, the more like, man, this guy is awesome. This is the dude, you know?
I would say my favorite character, I think, like out of any show period, is like the kid with the balls on his head on My Hero Academia.
Yeah, the one we never talk smack about.
Yeah, never. It's hard. I will say, like, My Hero to me shocked me from like how the show felt to like when Tenya Ida had his moment with the my hero killer Stain. That was a really good moment for me.
When I did.
Yeah, when you did it. I really enjoyed Tenya Ito's role in that because it was like very much broke his character. Like the guy who was super responsible at all times, and like he comes in really strong. Like when his first scene is him yelling at Midoriya and being like, "This is the way things need to be. Let's go." Like he's all like, you're like, I loved it. Like I was like, this is like rigid and down, and he was like buff and clearly really powerful. On the first thing, he was like killing it, you know? I was just like, this character's badass. And then when he had his like emotional breakdown, I was like, ooh, the depth of this. I like this. Like to me, I feel like his character has a ton of depth. So I randomly was like a huge fan of Tenya Ito.
The show does a good job with development and stuff, for sure.
Yeah. I love Zoro off One Piece.
Oh yeah? Okay, so this is one I'm not familiar with like One Piece at all. So like,
yes.
Is he like your typical like badass?
He's totally the most Japanese character. He's the only one with a Japanese background. So the one thing about One Piece that I think is really cool is that they lean on every trope, and I like that.
Yeah?
You know, when it shows the background of each character, like their stories, they're obviously all insane. Like they're all like so ridiculous. Clear any character.
They're like deserving of being like pirates.
Totally. And they're deserving of being so powerful too. Like you're always like, I don't get it. How are they getting such a good group of people? And you understand how they connect. It's great storytelling. But like Zoro is the one that, first of all, his name is Zoro. That's just funny. Like that he has like just a classic American. The guy with all the American
swords, right? Oh, he has like one sword in his mouth.
He literally has 3 sword fighting style. That's his thing. And he's fighting with his you know what I mean? Like it's like I will say that's the best part of Naruto is the fight that the guy with the sword in his mouth.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that fight, or did you not watch that?
Is that the water fight?
Yes, on the bridge. That's the best part. Anyways, shouldn't spoil that. But for people out there. Anyways, but Zoro, he has the most Japanese background because he's like a Japanese character. Like that's his things. So in the middle of this like zany, weird future world, it's actually really comforting when it flashes back to you're like, am I watching Rurouni Kenshin? Like this is like cool, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, he's like whatever. But then you feel so much for him that by the episode, like that was the most emotional episode of me, and it was like right off the bat. It's like seriously 10th episode or something, you know? It's like at the very beginning of the show, and you're like, oh my god. And then like every way he acts is so cool. Like you're just like, when there's characters that are so like zen and cool, but they weren't always like that, and there's a reason they become like that, you just like feel, but then you see glimpses of their childhood in them. There's something about that like really resonates with me. But Zoro is probably like literally one of my favorite characters, like period. I'm just like, dude, this dude is such a badass. And he's like funny, and you know, he's not too, I am a ninja. He's almost kind of the opposite. But yeah.
Like, so I don't watch Naruto. I've seen like a couple episodes, but there is one character I haven't even reached in the story that I know we talked about that was super motivating, and I believe that was Rock Lee, right?
Oh yes, Rock Lee is the best. Literally, right when I saw his scenes in Naruto, I was like, I don't know why the show isn't called Rock Lee. I don't get it. Like, who is this Naruto kid? Like. Rock Lee is literally the first character where he was like, hey, I had to work hard. And everybody's like, oh, he worked hard? We don't even have to try because we're just blessed assholes. And like literally when Rock Lee came in, I was like, finally, dude. Like, you know, the most relatable thing I think for you and I is the fact that like, it feels like we have to work pretty damn hard to do anything in life. And I'm like, and that dude, just to be like bare minimum, that dude, when it shows his backstory and like everything the way he trains, you're like, okay, this dude should be dead, first of all. But at least he's just like, and then of course his fight with the sand guy, I was just like, okay, that's, you know, I'm pretty sure that's his like apex. Man, they made a sick character. So yeah, Rock Lee, I guess there's probably like 1 or 2 characters in each show that I'm like, that's the best character. But like, I will say like Demon Slayer doesn't really have that for me. There's no character that I'm like, that's the best.
I agree with that one, actually. I think we share kind of like common ground when it comes to our, I guess, most like motivational characters because of how we were raised and stuff, I suppose. But like, because I figured Rock Lee, like, definitely it resonates with both of us, right? And I think there's like another one that resonates with both of us, and I think it was like an entire club from like Mob Psycho. What was that club? It was like a body improvement club or something.
Oh my gosh, dude. There is
They're
probably
homies.
there's like man, there's a lot of characters in Mob Psycho that I really liked, but I will say
Yeah.
my 3 favorite. I think Reagan is just like the best.
Reagan's
Reagan's
awesome.
phenomenal, dude. But like that's the type of person, like there's something about that vibe of being like. But yeah, the Body Improvement Club was just like, it was amazing because it destroys your stereotypes too. Like you grow up seeing people like that, and you're like, I hate to say it, but instinctively you're like, like these guys are probably douchebag, frat boy, whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But they make them in the show older brother types to
Yeah.
Mob, and they welcome him with open arms, and like, dude, everything that happens with him, those are the most emotional scenes in Mob Psycho. Like
I
you,
agree, man.
you already knew. It's funny because I told you like there's an episode coming up, and when you saw it, you hit me up. You're like, I already know what episode you're talking about. Like, cause yeah. And like that part, I was like standing up, going like, yeah. Like I was like, this is like, dude, this is what anime does though. I'm telling you, like literally, it's the only thing that makes me stand up and go like, like wanting to just scream, and like you feel so connected, and
Think about like it took how many movies? 20 movies for like Marvel.
Yeah.
To make get to like lead to Endgame, right? And at Endgame, I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, whoa, like when it comes to anime, it's literally like 2 episodes, and I'm like screaming at the TV. I'm like, oh my god.
Sometimes it's one flashback real quick right before
exactly.
it. Dude, I'm
like a tear is shed and stuff. I'm like, my god. Like, I don't even get it. Even in Haikyuu, there's people who've seen the show, they know it's a certain character, he roars, I guess you could say.
That's it.
And
that's it. If you were to explain that to
I lost it. Like I was like speechless. Like I was trying to scream and nothing came out. I was trying to scream with them.
That's the thing in anime. It's so subtle. Like the big moments, they can be huge and fantastical, obviously, but they can literally just be a character being like, "Thank you," and you're like, "Oh no, he didn't. He thanked him. He never thanks people." You know what I mean? And we mentioned a lot of characters, but yeah, in most shows, even like Haikyuu, I feel like the most likable character is probably the guy who wears the different color than everyone else with the hair, and he talks like, yeah, my name's blah, blah, blah. Like he has like crazy.
Noya.
That's like the character that I'm like, oh, he's fun. Like he's like, to me, he's probably the most likable one out of the crew. I just can't think of anyone else who I'm like. Usually the main character is a little too, just a little too loud and crazy.
Too tropey. Yeah.
A little too tropey. Like like Goku. I don't think Vegeta. I think is where most people really resonate. It's like you got to see some depth. You got to see like a struggle and someone always chasing something and kind of maybe never even getting that thing. I think that's like there's a lot of relatability.
It makes you
to
feel. It makes you like underdog syndrome, right? Like it makes you feel for the guy. You're like, man, because the main character, it's expected of them to excel. A lot of the times,
Yeah. So to me, it's like I need to see a character really, really go through the ringer and like and also do the unexpected. Like at the end, not like victimize himself and blah blah. Something that's pretty much impossible to do in real life. Like if you go through the hell that anime characters go through, you're gonna be a pissed off individual. So when they can do that and then they're also just like normal, I'm like, yeah, this dude's killing it. So, dude, they're real. Okay, they're my best friends. It's like wrestling, where to me it's still real. It's still real to me. Damn it.
Yeah. Well, next thing is another loaded question. Believe it or not. So
bring it on.
What's in the future for John Hill when it comes to anime? Like, is this something, I mean, obviously you're going to keep doing it, man. I think the route is that you're going to keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be watching more and more anime. You got anything special? Because I think even just in the last year, you've been motivated to do art, like based off of anime. You do like a lot of chibi characters. You've even done like some, maybe some storytelling.
Yeah.
A little bit of writing. Based off of animes and stuff. So you've been highly motivated and inspired by just anime in like the last single year, right?
Totally.
So any other like future plans that you expect to do pertaining to anime? I mean, I think for us, cons are definitely in the foreseeable future, so...
Yeah, honestly, I see a lot. Like, for me, I always get way too overzealous with my ambitions, and I'm okay with that.
That's good, though.
Yeah, because I don't get super disappointed when things kind of fall to the side. I end up, you adjust your dreams as you move forward and being like, oh, that doesn't make sense for me right now because that wouldn't make me as happy as this thing that I just discovered. But anime in general, my whole future is kind of predicated right now on the idea of like growing, I think, like IP and storylines and art and everything like that. Like that is like what I see in the future. Like for me,
Right.
you know, everything I've done, I feel like up to this point is kind of like, you know, it will accumulate into maybe trying to like make a little cartoon or a little show. You know, YouTube is me making like 1,000+ videos. And like each one I get to like try to figure out what the story is. Business, in a sense, is a lot of storytelling, being like, how do I want to sell my brand? And then of course these illustrations, like as I've created these characters, just at first it was just for fun. Like in Korea, I made like 8 little characters. They're super adorable chibi things. I wrote stories about them. And then it turned into this like huge story in my head where I literally built like this like Marvel-esque universe. And
Right.
and now there's like the 4 main characters that I always draw. Like each of them represent a huge part of me. And like, you know, the tropey version of those parts of me. Like Melee,
Right.
you know, the chaos part of me, he's a chaotic, crazy intelligent, so that's not a part of me. But Monkey, that like kind of just causes mayhem, you know, like the Joker. And like
Right.
part of me, I resonate deeply with these characters, and now I can like tell their story accurately. But I think I will genuinely try to make something out of that, like an actual like either cartoon or comic strip or something, and then, you know, showcase it on the channels that we have. And yeah, I see the future being very like creating stories driven, as well as like building up all my other brands and content, and, you know, always just exploring. But, you know, art and creativity is like the apex of my life, and anime definitely like reinvigorates that every second. And also keeping up with like what anime is doing and how they're creating. And even though the
Right.
industry can be harsh for the people in it, it's
Yeah.
like finding ways to maybe tell the story when you don't have, you know, 1,000 animators, and being like, how can you create that on your own? Which is, you know, and then maybe if you write a story good enough one day, an animation studio will hit you up and be like, yo, let's see what we, you know, we get popping. Yeah. So there's a skate story I want to
Very
tell
nice.
too. I just don't know how to. But yeah.
Oh, that'd be so awesome. I mean, you could do a lot, man, with a skate story for sure. Oh, nice. I mean, so like, I think like a lot of people out there, you know, who really get into anime. I think for you, it's been a year. So I think I could be confident in saying that it's very well integrated into your lifestyle. At
Yes.
This point.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's a big part of who I am, I think, at this point. Like, it's just, you know, it's pretty much the content I absorb now.
All right, well, you know what? We could pretty much end this off with kind of a look into the future. Well, into the present, into the future. You know, we learned a lot about you, John, and honestly, I give you my stamp of approval. You're now a Super Saiyan level 1. You've reached the next stage.
1 year of anime. It's
One
like
year of anime.
Yeah. Well, that's what most people are at by the time they're like 11. I'm there at 30.
Yeah. You know, honestly, let's do something light. What are you currently watching, and what do you plan on watching, you know, in the foreseeable future?
Well, there's a lot
Or
of
what do
like
you plan to?
there's a lot of like common anime I need to finish up. You know, like Promise Neverland, I got to finish, and then also One Piece I do want to go all the way through. We're currently watching Food Wars. I know Matthew's watching that as well. Just finished
Me
second
and
plate.
John's watching that, so.
Yeah, that one's super fun. So Food Wars right now is just the one I'm trying to like stay focused on, because I'm trying not to have too many anime on my plate. I still gotta finish ReZero. Nice. ReZero,
Nice.
and then there's a few. That's like, I'm trying to just keep it at that. Right now there's that. That's all I'm gonna think, because it's easy for me to get carried away and have like 15 to watch. I also watched Samurai Champloo this year too. That was good.
Oh yeah. I mean, honestly, that is literally the issue for most anime fans, is like watching a few anime, because there's always a backlog.
That's
of
what I'm
animes.
saying. It's
I
infinite.
have so much anime in backlog. I just can't even remember most of them. So, and it'll never end. So
Yeah.
that's good. And
Yeah.
bad, you know, but
It's good and bad.
More good.
It's more good for sure. That means our entire lives we can have a constant stream of content to watch, and that makes me very happy. But yeah, I think that's it. I think right now I'm just gonna focus on those 3 or 4. And March Comes in Like a Lion. I gotta finish that too. So that's 4, and that's it.
it's a lot of good stuff to watch. Yeah.
I'll be done in like
Awesome.
a week probably. So we'll see.
And you know, today's one of those days we just want to give an update. You know, it's been 1 year for John, so I just wanted to do a little celebratory shout out for my bro. I'm proud of you. This is probably the most proud I've ever been of you in my entire life, honestly. Like, I mean, I guess you've had success in your life. But
well, I won the Nobel Peace Prize one time, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I mean,
Oscar,
this is definitely like another tier.
Totally.
Like, like S+ tier. So
1 year of anime.
I'm pretty sure mom and dad would be very proud of you too for hitting that milestone.
Probably not.
Probably not. I mean, I think we have a lot of things in the works, man. Of course, we'll keep doing reaction videos. We'll keep doing like little funny tidbits. Guess that anime song. We're that character, all kinds of stuff.
Learning and growing at the same time. Ideally for us, it's like if we can pinpoint just completely creative base, like we came up with it, that would be the best. Like ideas that pop off that we totally. But it's hard, because when you really think about it, anime isn't my forte. So it's like creating a channel about it. It's different. Right. It's different. I've only created channels based on like what I'm really experienced in. So, but to me, that's fun. Like it's part of the experimentation. Yeah. It's like a science lab, being like, does this work? So. Yeah,
and this is kind of the beauty of it too. Like, speaking of motivation, because John got into anime, and I've been watching anime. Now we have something else we can share and actually produce content out of.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just a more motivational factor for us to keep pushing content. It's something that we always look forward to.
We're excited plans. We're just moving forward in the most natural way possible, and we're experimenting in a very natural way instead of being super crazy and gung-ho about like growth. It's like fun to see and slowly test what works. It's like, it's like we're building a little restaurant.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to, just making more content. But as always, thank you guys for watching.
If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to try that. If you enjoyed this video, of course, give it a like. If you did not enjoy it, comment down below and just say like, bro, penises are round. Something like that if you didn't enjoy it. And stay tuned every week for a new one because we are dropping these like flies, bro. So many hammers coming your way, like Thor.
Mjolnir style.
And we'll see you next time. 안녕히 계세요.
안녕히 계세요. Peace.
Peace.